Hello everyone, ex-Bethelite here. We have had a situation in Thurston County where 3 arsons have been done to Kingdom Halls there in that area, and also a shooting in Yelm. Now the shooting, this wasn't just a drive-by where someone drove by Kingdom Hall and fired a few shots. I watched a news article on the event, and there were holes all over the Kingdom Hall. I think they said that they shot at least 30 some odd bullets into that Kingdom Hall. Now, the authorities believe that the person who attacked the Kingdom Halls were making a message. They were trying to make a point, which they did, because those 30 some odd shots could have easily been fired while people were in the Kingdom Hall. Could you imagine the damage that would have done? Fortunately, the person chose to fire those shots into the Kingdom Hall while no one was there. So the police have stated that they are going to put up a $25,000 reward for information, because it is very difficult to find someone who is doing things to buildings at night. Okay, because they have cameras on the buildings, but the person has the intelligence to cover their face, so that even though the cameras are there, you can't tell who they are. They're covering the majority of their body, and you don't tend to have people around or at a Kingdom Hall late at night, so no one sees what's occurring. So the police have no information. They don't have anything. They're putting out a $25,000 reward just for information, obviously because they don't have it at the moment. Now, they have shown a video of someone buying firewood, and I don't know what they plan on doing with that video, because the video that they have of the person of I think they worded the person of interest, like it's not a suspect. They can't say he's a suspect because it's not illegal to buy firewood. You can't just go to a store, look at the videos, and see who all purchases firewood and start arresting people. So they're saying firewood was used, for one of the hall fires, and they have a video of someone purchasing firewood. So they just want to talk to the person. But what they showed, unless this is a very small city, is someone wearing a hat covering the majority of their face, and they don't really have a picture of a person's face. They have a picture of their mouth and a hat. So, yeah, they don't really have a lot of information. And they have a picture of a vehicle, and I don't know if they obviously don't have the license plate. Otherwise, they wouldn't need to ask people if they've seen the vehicle. So you have got 3 Kingdom Hall set ablaze, or at least it happened 3 times where they burned the Kingdom Hall, and then one time, a 4th incident where they let off 30 some odd shots into the Kingdom Hall. And what we really have to come to an understanding of is that what we are discussing is not whether or not those actions are illegal. or if those actions are wrong. What we have to understand is that does not govern what the ex-Jehovah's Witness community as a whole thinks about arson, burning kingdom halls, shooting up kingdom halls. What we all individually think about and act does not govern how a person will respond to their life being destroyed, their life being severely damaged. Maybe they were molested as a youth and they are still suffering trauma from that. Maybe they haven't spoken to their own relatives and that relative passes away, and then the finality of everything hits them and they snap. There was a situation in Kigo Harbor. We remember that, right? The Kigo Harbor murder-suicide. If you look that up, you probably will still see the news clippings on YouTube. Well, there was a woman who killed her entire family. She shot her entire family. This was someone that was influenced by Jehovah's Witnesses or Watchtower. And I'm going to clarify that statement in a second. And she shot her entire family, killed the dog before turning the gun on herself. And then you have people saying, well, Watchtower never taught anything that would cause a person to respond in that manner. And normally people saying that tend to be the people who personally have not had anything happen to them. They personally were not molested as a youth and had the organization turn on them after it happened. They personally haven't dedicated their entire life to Watchtower, only to have Watchtower turn on them when they were old, and then they find out that it's false. They haven't personally completely had their family relationships destroyed by Watchtower. So these people look at it as this act was just not something that Watchtower caused per se, or none of the teachings would have caused something like that, even though they teach people that the end of the world is coming, and if you're not where Watchtower wants you to be, you're about to experience something called the Great Tribulation, which will be worse than anything that has ever happened to anyone that is ever lived. This is about to happen to a person's family, is what they're teaching them. And we, or some people, assume that this won't have a negative effect. People won't react in an unpredictable fashion. What we have to understand is we don't dictate how someone else responds to religious abuse from Watchtower. It's not about whether or not an event is something that the entire ex-Jehovah's Witness community agrees upon. More than likely, the far majority of the ex-Jehovah's Witness community wants a message to be sent peacefully. But there are some, apparently, who have taken things to another level. And when those things happen, if people continue to shrug it off as, oh, that person was wrong, it, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. A person could react in a number of ways. Whether or not we decide that that is right or wrong doesn't stop it from happening. Anytime you have a situation in Keego Harbor with the murder-suicide, or you have a situation there in Thurston County with 3 arsons and, you know, someone using the Kingdom Hall for target practice, it's not as simple as sitting down and discussing whether what that person did was right or wrong. What we need to discuss is that Watchtower is damaging and hurting people's families. And when people's families are involved, we don't know how a person will respond. We don't know. The nicest person in the world could have a family member hurt and they snap. When you're dealing with someone's family or you're dealing with someone's entire life and you cause extreme harm, whether it be with the policies that they have, where someone molests a child and the child, when they come forward, they have the 2-witness rule where that child needs 2 witnesses that saw that child get molested. Otherwise, what has happened is Watchtower's just brushed it off and the child isn't taken care of, and the person that molests the child either continues molesting the child or just goes to a different Kingdom Hall and just molests more children, then goes to another Kingdom Hall and just molests more children. And it got so bad that Australia had to have what was called the Australian Royal Commission, where there were thousands of unreported cases, and they finally said, hey, we need to look into this because this is bad. You have those situations. We all know about the blood issue. And then you have the situation where you have millions of people who've been told that the end of the entire world is coming, not soon as in years down the line, but soon as in it could be tomorrow. And because of that, they're not putting a lot of importance on their careers, having a family. They're holding off on having children, and they're holding off on their education. They're holding off on their future, only to find out that they did it all for nothing. We don't know how a person is going to respond. Our moral compass doesn't control other people. So in my opinion, and we can discuss this down below, the discussion, when you have Keego Harbor, when you have Thurston County and Yelm, and you have other things happening, whether it be suicides at Bethel, or other events, the discussion isn't, oh, those poor Jehovah's Witnesses and they never did anything wrong, and oh, the person is just so wrong who did X, Y, Z, or they're crazy. When you say that they are crazy, obviously they were disturbed, but this was caused. It wasn't that they just lost it for no reason, because we have a pattern. of Watchtower doing so much trauma to people that they will commit suicide, they will have extreme depression. People in Watchtower that hadn't even been shunned undergo extreme depression because of demands that that religion put on people. Knocking on doors in the cold, in the heat, it never being enough. You need to do more, you need to do more, you need to do more. Armageddon, the end of the world is coming, you need to do more. God doesn't want you to speak to your son anymore. Things like that cause extreme damage to people. And we have the proof of it. And we have people who they obviously aren't playing games with Watchtower. So they sent a message by burning those Kingdom Halls 3 times, or the 3 Kingdom Halls, and shooting into another. They set a message. People need to listen to that message before someone ends up getting hurt. So hopefully what we end up having is the authorities, in doing their research, looking into what's going on, and talking to people, you see, because when the authorities say that they want information on someone who has grievance with Watchtower, they're going to be interviewing half the country. They're going to be interviewing people in every state in the country. They're going to be interviewing people all over the world. Watchtower has done so much damage to so many people that how do you pick out who did this based off Watchtower doing something to them, right? So hopefully in their search there in that county, someone that has a voice will look into the shunning and say, what exactly is this that would cause something like that? Because they're targeting Kingdom Halls in specific, not any other religious facility. And they finally say, hey, we can't stop these things from happening and we can't protect you because you keep on shunning people and causing so much damage that there's no telling what the next person and the next person and the next person is going to do. So that we can't stop it, but we can stop the shunning, which is part of the cause of this. We can stop the 2-witness rule, which is just pure. Shows how stupid Watchtower is. A kid is just not going to have 2 witnesses to him being molested. That's not going to happen. Right? So we can stop the 2-witness rule. We can stop the shunning. I'm talking about the government, and we have discussed in another video that some people feel the government should just completely keep their hands out, regardless of how much damage a religion does and how bad the backlash is and whether or not people get hurt. We just want religion to just keep shunning people and keep having 2-witness rules and things of that sort, because we're afraid that if they stop shunning and they stop the 2-witness rule, they will then stop all of religion. You know what I mean? Just like the people who want regulation on guns. Well, they think, well, if they make regulation on guns or they change the laws, they're going to take everybody's guns away. You know, people just go to the extremes with things. Oh, they're corrupt. If they do anything, it's going to just be the end of the world. You know what I mean? So we have to stop this because this is a very serious message that these people have sent. Those 30 rounds could have went into people. They didn't have to just go into a building. They got fortunate. So hopefully people heed that message and the authorities figure out the reason why these things are happening. I don't know if they're ever going to catch who did it. Could have been anybody. You know, if I go out and I do extreme harm to 50,000 people and then I end up hurt, there's no clue who did it. Could have been anybody, because I'm doing so much damage to so many people. It'd be pretty hard to figure out who did it just based off who had problems with me if I go around doing things to other people's families. So Watchtower's in the same situation where they may or may not ever catch these individuals. And these individuals apparently are not playing around. 937-789-4029. Let me know what you think. Let me know how far you think things need to go before someone, whether it be the authorities, Watchtower's not going to just stop it themselves because they don't care about the lives of their members. So someone outside of Watchtower needs to put a stop to the shunning and put a stop to the two-witness rule and put a stop to everything else that's doing religious harm, psychological harm, huge detriment to people's lives. And once that is stopped, then we can say, oh, this person had no real reason to do this, or oh, this person was just crazy because there was no cause for it. First we need to get rid of the obvious issues that are going on with Watchtower doing damage to people, and then once we stop that, then we can expect people to not react a certain way. But you slap a person in the face, there's no telling how they're going to react. If they snap, people can stand around and say, oh, it was wrong for them to slam that person on the ground who slapped them in the face. But the reality is, we don't know how people will respond when they feel threatened, or they feel their family's threatened, or they feel like they've been hurt. We don't know. We can't stop it by telling people it's wrong. So let me know what you think again. Comment down below. We'll discuss it. 937-789-4029. And that is X Walkill Bethelite signing out.